And yeah, it's just there, boom.
Did you know Cindy's mom's an alcoholic?
Or like in closing prayer, that's where you bring up everyone's business.
Right.
No.
Yeah. After you gossip,
I always love that.
After you gossip about a person, be like, and we really need to pray for them.
I love that.
Okay, well, let's talk about discipline. You've got that handout here?
Yep.
I just want to go over these 10 tips here.
Yeah.
10 reminders. There are no problem teens, just teens with problems.
Okay.
So, in other words, get to the underlying issue. Remember, we're all created in the image of God. So rather than reacting, try and get to the issue. All teens are different, so treat them differently. Treat them individually, recognizing their upbringing, culture, education, and gender. Not saying be fake, but some kids need to talk to a certain way than others. Leave your problems at the door. And you should not be getting involved in this because you are dealing with an issue in your life. Leave your problems at the door. Certainly don't tell in your small group about issues you're having within your own family. Proactive versus reactive discipline. You need structure and consistency. And that's why I say again with like the dress code, we have to be consistent. Even if you don't, it's not fun, but it prevents problems from happening.
Yeah, I feel like with that, especially the first couple of weeks, if we just have a stack of T-shirts and we say, "I'll go get a T-shirt," if we tell 10 kids to get a T-shirt, then that's not a problem. But if we tell one person,
yeah,
then it's bad. But I feel like we need to be prepared the first week.
Yeah, we do. Well, I saw some of those
There's
T-shirts
all
up
those
there from
pro-life
the summer.
Hey, what a nice T-shirt to wear. Yeah.
Don't assume anything. Get the story from multiple witnesses. There'll always be multiple versions of a story. If core is involved, your default should be to stand behind your fellow volunteers, but keep in mind that teens need to also be heard. Door openers versus door slammers. One important listening skill to use when teens are upset or in conflict is using door openers as opposed to door slammers. Door openers are open-ended responses that don't imply judgment. Things like, "I'm interested in what you're saying," or "that sounds important to you," or "do you want to talk about it?" Rather than making statements like, "you're wrong."
Whoa.
Or "why did you do that?" Because it's not going to help them change their mind. I'm not saying that they aren't wrong.
It's not our role to judge until we've heard it.
Right.
And even then, it's not our role.
Right. You certainly can't judge their heart. But if you want to get them to a point of contrition, usually telling them they're wrong straight off the bat. And sometimes there are kids that need that very direct, but you still have to be careful about it. Love the teen, hate the behavior. Ooh, that's hard, isn't it? There's just going to be some of those kids who just get under your skin.
No, like I used to tell my eldest daughter, "I love you, but I don't always love what you do."
Right. Exactly. You don't know everything you may not know everything that's going on in their life. Home situations, neglect, abuse, what kind of day they had. So if you get angry and you don't think you can handle it because you're angry, take 2 minutes. And if you're still angry, take 2 hours.
Whoa.
And if at that point, if you're still angry, consult a pastor, consult me, take 2 days before getting back to the teen and their parent. So you don't want to say anything you regret. And then what happens then is you break the bond of trust. Not only with the parent, but then it affects the whole youth ministry because the story gets out that so-and-so, blew up, and then say, well, if that could happen with one of them, could it happen with others?
So how would you say that to them? I need 2 minutes. I mean, with my kids, I say I need a timeout, and I walk away. But what do you say to a teen?
I would say that they need to go. You need to separate them. Ask another volunteer core member to separate them from the group. Because there needs to be immediate action taken if it's something like that, especially if it's disrespect. But then you go off, have somebody else handle them for that interim period.
Okay.
It'd be awkward, but be better than
Better than yelling at them.
Yeah, and consult, get other people involved in those situations, so that you, first of all, so you have a witness. If they say you were overly harsh, second of all, they might have a perspective that you don't. Maybe you are being overly harsh, or something, and you just say, hey, before you think I should do this? So, hopefully we won't have too many situations.
No.
But we will have more and more of these
We're
as
going
we
to be nice.
as we try to reach out
Thank you.
more
You feel
to
good.
the wider community. We're going to have kids with more baggage, hopefully, I say hopefully we will, in a year or two. Those are the ones that need this love of Christ most. So we might not have to be dealing with much in the immediate future, but in at that token, we aren't trained to deal with some of the real severe problems.
What is our policy on bullying?
Bullying? You don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if the kids do it? Then you
That's a good question. I don't
pull them out, or what?
Well, I think it often happens without us knowing. And that's why I think being there as much as you can every week, you can kind of see the trends and what's going on. I'm not very good at that stuff. I'm normally oblivious to those kinds of situations. But keep an eye out and watch.
Yeah, I'd say if you see it going on, it immediately kind of pull that teen aside and be like, that's
But
not
are
going
we
to be
supposed to report it
tolerated.
or anything? Is that a reportable thing?
I think it probably depends on the degree,
Okay.
if it's like a matter of teasing or something,
Okay.
like, just follow the trends, keep an eye on it. If it's like constant teasing, then yes, if it's, like a one-time
the
thing.
degree.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so it takes, it takes judgment, I think, on our part.
Number 9, meet the parents is the being proactive, that building a relationship with them, being friendly with them, and showing you care before something bad happens. Because it's just like you kind of put points in the relationship account, if you will, that you might have to use at some point. You'll kind of win their respect. And follow up. When you do have to discipline, follow up with them to make sure that they understand no hard feelings. And if apologies are necessary, be sure that they take place between the persons involved. And affirm that you care about them, you want them to get to heaven. Be careful about saying you love them. It can be misinterpreted.
Yeah.
So reaffirm that your goal is so that they get to spend eternity with them. And if you didn't care about them, you would let this fly. So you'd just be lazy, basically. So affirm your intentions and make sure there's no hard feelings. Any other tips that you all have or questions when it comes to discipline?
I have another comment about the bullying. I think it'll be really helped by the fact that we have specific children or teens that are going to be in each of our groups. Because I've been to workshops on bullying before, and the single most useful thing you can do is to build up the ones who are bullied. And so if you are aware of the kids who you're responsible for, and making sure that they feel strong enough to stand up to that bullying behavior, bullying goes down. Because if the bully doesn't feel that the person they're tormenting is being affected by the bullying, they're going to stop. So that might actually really help.
That's a good point. So deal more with the victim.
Yeah, if you strengthen the victim, then bullying will go down.
Yeah. Now, we haven't had to deal with any of this so far. But like I said, as we expand, maybe it may come up.
I mean, I I haven't helped out with the youth nights, but more just the RE classes. And I always found that as the catechist, it was always helpful for the other adults to help with the chatter, you know, because it's hard to
Right.
kind of keep breaking your lesson to say, can you please, or
Yeah.
just, you know, just be silent, which is effective too. But I always find it helpful when other people just, you know, stand next to them. So if we're all just aware when people keep having side conversations, you know,
Yeah.
to help with that, the
That's a
management, the
good
class
point. I
management.
should have included that earlier in the day when everybody was here. It's something that I've had a rough time with in our Bible study on Wednesday with some of the kids. It's almost impossible to control it if it's just one person. But especially with your men that are volunteering, they sometimes are able to quell it a little bit easier, especially if they're big. Yeah, have them sit along during the talks, have them sit along. You guys should be spreading out to make sure that they're not chattering. Don't be afraid to correct them.
And if you have peer leaders too,
Mhm.
really encourage the peer leaders to
Yeah.
be quiet also. Something I may or may not have noticed during confirmation last week was a peer leader being the one who was talking with one of the teams. It's like, right smack in the middle. It was too, you know, far to like not make a big deal out of it, and I kind of had to just wait it out and let it go. But really encourage the peer leaders to keep their mouths, because you know
They're
teams
supposed to be a
too.
leader,
Yeah, they're supposed to
not
be
one of the.
right.
crowd.
Exactly.
Okay, so we appear Wednesday, the first Wednesday in February.
Yeah, I'll be in.
Where? You'll
Well, let me
us
go over this with everybody.
Oh, okay,
Before we close, we're going to close with a little bit of prayer time here.
Okay, I need to. I've got to get it on my calendar.